was a good one, guys. I'm seriously proud of what we put together.
That was good, huh?
Yeah. Who's Wadret? Is that just his name?
Is Inviable a BM hunter? Yes.
Yes.
Alright, here we go. I believe Wadret is Zev. Zev on the Retribution Paladin.
Zonika's frame's not showing up. Confirmed EU people don't exist in NA.
Oh, wait, what? It's showing up for me, so that's good.
I don't have it. I get
Shows
yes,
up for me
it's
too.
more important for you.
Alright, both of these teams look like they're just sitting at the pillar for now. They're waiting. They're waiting to make their mark. Jeopardy. And then that Stealth looking to open up. But Glinks, he wants to run in. He wants a piece of the action.
Zonica gonna get bashed up right away. The Hodge going out onto Inviable. That is the full trap onto Zonica. Zevs has the option to sack it, and he's going to. Wants to get Zonica out of that CC, and Wadret deciding to use that Wings right away. Jeopardy answering that with the Survival Instincts as well as the Nature's Vigil. So going to be taking a little bit less damage. The sack coming out from a teen onto Jeopardy. Wadret taking a whole bunch of damage, though. Getting topped off there by Zonica, and really in that exchange, not too much used defensively from either team.
Yep, Incarnation still available for Jeopardy. Murder of Crows coming up in 30 seconds. Jeopardy looking to try and land a defensive clone. The Hodge actually used onto Inviable. Now Athene getting hodged up in the center of the map. Inviable looking to land the trap out of it. Doesn't land the trap just yet. The Murder of Crows is going to be used onto Jeopardy, taking a ton of damage. Save of the Light is going to proc. Avenging Wrath gets used, but the Incarnation is used from Beanslayer. He's trying to make a turnaround onto Inviable. The Bop comes out here from Zev onto him to stabilize his HP here. Ascendance being used as well from Zonica to top off his team and keep them rolling.
Yep, Zonica actually going to that full trap. Zevs does have a sack available if he needs it. He's going to throw it out. Doesn't want to get too low. Athene does have that Avenging Wrath up at the moment, throwing out those heals to top off his team and really make the use out of those wings before going into that full Hodge. Jeopardy's Incarnation is going to fade there, and Viable taking a whole bunch of damage at the moment. Athene does have almost all of his cooldowns up still, as well as Jeopardy, so even though Jeopardy's a little bit low here, it's not too scary. The Ore Master coming out. A lot of heals coming out from Athene at the moment, going to top off Jeopardy. Wadret taking a lot of damage. The bash onto Zonica, Hodge onto Zevs. This could be big trouble, even though he does have cooldowns to answer. This could be the full bubble coming out from Zevs, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Zonica actually into the full trap now. No sack's going to be available. Actually, as I say that, as sack comes up, going to throw it onto Zonica. Zonica going to get out of that crowd control, throwing the heals onto Zevs. Athene in the full trap at the moment. Jeopardy taking a whole bunch of damage. This might be the Trinket Roar bubble coming up from Athene. Survival Instinct's going to be popped from Jeopardy to stop that incoming damage. He's going to take 50% less damage with that up, and he's going to be able to survive.
Yep, Nature's Vigil being used as well, rebuffing constantly to try and deal with being spam purged. Trying to go for a clone there. He does get locked out, however. Zonica pulling back with his team, trying to overextend Jeopardy. Jeopardy doesn't have anything left. The Avenging Wrath comes out from Zev. Athene trinkets and answers it with his own Avenging Wrath, throwing the Sacrifice out as well, stabilizing Jeopardy immediately. Now Jeopardy going for a defensive clone is going to land that onto Inviable. The Murder of Crows now being used onto Zev. The full bash is going to land. Denounces are flying in from Athene, down to 70%, but Zonica, not being crowd controlled, is going to be able to easily heal through this. Gets the healing surge, tops him off. Another Murder of Crows being rotated here. Inviable has his available in 3 seconds. He's got to make sure that he lands the next trap here. Zev looking like he wants to try and land the Hodge. The Hodge is going to land onto Athene. Inviable looking to land the trap. Glinks is there to try and eat it. Can he do it though? The binding shot comes down. Barrage coming out from Inviable. Still has that Murder of Crows onto Jeopardy, down to 40%. Athene with two bops remaining is going to use one. Overlapped with the Survival Instincts, and now he's going to get trapped. The Bob gets purged. Survival Instincts fades, and suddenly Jeopardy's on the run, trying to get away from Inviable and Zev. Line of sighting back here, trying to now reconnect with Athene, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeopardy using that stampeding roar to kite there and actually get away, so well done by him. That is the full trap onto Zonica, and if we look, I mean, Zonica's mana is hurting really bad, but I don't know if the game's actually going to go that long. Athene having to use his bubble there, has no trinket, no bubble, one bop, so that's the only cooldowns Athene has left. Jeopardy having a Survival Instincts as well as Incarnation coming up in 8 seconds. That's the cooldown they need to turn around the game. Zonica caught into the full bash at the moment. The Crow's going out onto Wadret. That is the full trap onto Zonica. He doesn't have a trinket available. The Incarnation coming out right away. It's going to get bopped up. By Zev, so that's exactly what he needed to do to answer Jeopardy's cooldowns, and that's what I'm talking about, being able to stabilize with those Paladin cooldowns. Zonica getting out of the crowd control, topping off Inviable as well as Wadret. Now Jeopardy has no Incarnation left, fading very, very shortly.
Yeah, Zonica trying to ground the trap, but Glinks does an amazing job knocking him through the binding shot, killing the grounding totem and landing that full trap. Zev in full retreat, trying to line of sight here, down to 40%. The Black Arrow is up, and Viable rotting down as well to 50% here. The bubble coming out from Zev. Athene has his trinket available for the entire side of Wood Win, and Viable still down to 46%. Zonica trying to heal through it, and he's doing okay so far. He does get that healing, so just going to connect. And now Jeopardy in danger. Survival Instincts comes out, down to 50%, trying to heal himself up. The execution sentence going to be used from Athene. They're just going to swap over to Glinks. The sacrifice gets used onto him to try and reduce the incoming damage. So they're going to swap over to Athene. He's got no bubble. He's going to have to bop himself down to 11%. The bop gets purged. And the jungle struggle is going to go down here to Wood Win. And this first game is going to be claimed with a very intense swap.
Yeah, that game was actually remarkably stable for both teams. I mean, cooldowns were being traded, but it was never really that scary of a moment for either team. Just able to work through their many cooldowns.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, to be quite honest with you guys. I did not expect that, but man, both teams seem to be playing very well. And I think we have ourselves a pretty interesting series ahead of us. Taking a quick look at that match statistic. Looking at time in CC, Athene the Holy Paladin was put in CC for 1 minute and 10 seconds versus Zonica's 1 minute and 2 seconds. And 1 minute and 2 seconds is still quite good considering the amount of sacrifices Zonica caught from Wadret that game.
Absolutely. You can really see the power of that Feral when you were looking at that time in CC. I don't know if that's something you mentioned, but Viable was CC'd for 54 seconds and compared to Glinks was only in CC for 10, so that's quite a difference.
It's a big deal.
Having that clone makes, yeah.
Alright, looks like Wood Win is going to be playing the same composition. And we're going to ask the Jungle Struggle what map they want next. But getting that win on the Grand Arena right away is going to give them a big advantage going into this series. But I don't know, the Jungle Struggle seems to be playing quite well.
I wonder if there was one point there when Jeopardy's Incarnation came up and they chose to commit all in Murder of Crows and Incarnation together, and I think that it just got bubble or bopped.
Yeah, it got bopped. I was a bit surprised by that they overlapped those cooldowns because, I mean, it's such a nice trade. You just, for Incarnation as well as Crows, just throwing out one bop, you're so satisfied pressing that button.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most satisfying feeling ever. Yeah, you can listen to D Machine. He's so happy about it.
Feels so good, man.
So if maybe they tried to force the bop without the Incarnation, they could have actually won the game, potentially.
Or even the Incarnation and not the Crows, because his Incarn's going to last 30 seconds. It could still be up by the time the bop fades, and he probably would have had to bob just Jeopardy's damage, because they landed the trap with no trinket. So I think they just overcommitted. And you could see like both teams playing at their peak, that it's just that one decision, though. One choice, and you can get punished for it and end up losing.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Alright, well, we're going to be jumping into game number 2, and the map chosen by the Jungle Struggle is Tiger's Peak. See you guys in just one hot minute. Alright guys, here we go. Game number 2 between the Jungle Struggle and Wood Win. Can this Jungle Struggle power through it against this Ret Hunter Shaman team? I don't know, we're about to find out here on Tiger's Peak, chosen by them. So we do have Jeopardy on that Feral Druid, Glinks on that Hunter, and Athene on the Holy Paladin, going up against Wadret, aka Zev, on that Retribution Paladin, Inviable on the Hunter, and Zonica, the EU Shaman, running Restoration. Here we go. Game number 2.
EU greater than NA confirmed?
Confirmed? Yeah, the EU versus NA hype is real. Maybe one day we'll
have
we'll have
it's
like
fun.
I like that. I like the rivalry. It's really cool. It's something I even feel is really interesting, but here we go. The gates have opened.
Jeopardy taking to the center of the map, looking to find his target, which I would imagine is going to be Zev. Zev knows that. Is pulled all the way back with Zonica, forcing him to overextend. They are going to open up with a bash onto Zonica, Hodge onto Inviable. Zev feeling the pressure into the bind shot. The clone lands 3v1 onto Zev here. He does sacrifice Zonica out of that trap, trying to get the heals rolling. He does fake cast the counter shot, getting the heals rolling. The Murder of Crows is up, but he's going to easily heal through it because he can't be interrupted. Topping him off. Now Zev on the offensive push at 70%, trying to get in here and get some damage rolling onto Jeopardy, but the Nature's Vigil is going to be used by him to answer that. Athene, not being crowd controlled, is easily healing through it. They might even swap to Athene again. The entire team actually getting chunked down to 60% suddenly there. The Divine Storm doing a ton of damage from Zev, and Viable rotting down a bit. Full bleeds are onto him. Zonica positioned towards the center of the map here, trying to make sure that he's in line of Zev in case he needs to sacrifice. Drops the Windwalk Totem to keep his team offensive. The full Hodge lands onto Athene. Binding shot onto Jeopardy. The Murder of Crows comes up. Athene goes into the trap, down to 20%. He pops the Incarnation, saved by the Light Procs. Athene trinkets, pops his own Avenging Wrath to heal through the damage. He wants to keep his team offensive right now. Zev down to 40%, gets a huge heal from Zonica, and is sitting pretty right now, healing through this Incarnation without even having to use Ascendance or Link.
Yeah, and Berserk is going to fade. He's going to have that Incarnation for a little while longer, so he's going to have a little bit more damage. Link's not using his Murder of the Crows there, so doing a good job separating those cooldowns, like we were saying. Zonica down to around 68% mana. Dampening not in for another 2.5 minutes. Jeopardy doing his best to line of sight at the moment, doing damage onto Inviable. Zonica's actually having a hard time topping off Zev's and Inviable here. Athene caught into the full Hodge at the moment. He doesn't have a trinket. He does have Bubble if he needs it. Jeopardy doesn't have Survival Instincts for another 2 minutes, so a long, long time before Jeopardy has any cooldowns to really keep himself up. Zonica, actually both healers getting trapped. There's Zonica into the full trap, Athene into the full trap. Zonica's just going to get sacked out there by Zevs. That is the Murder of Crows there on the Water Rat, so that's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to throw out that sack so Zonica can heal him up through that Murder of Crows, and he looks like he's going to be able to. Throwing out this cast. He actually gets locked out there by Glinks, so well done by Glinks, and Zevs is actually going to have to bubble.
Yeah, Athene actually getting swapped to again. They chose to use the Murder of Crows, but he was able to heal through it without using a bop. Suddenly the Jungle Struggle is taking a lead here as they land the full trap onto Zonica. Pressure onto Inviable, but Inviable lands a trap onto Athene. Jeopardy's in trouble. Avenging Wrath comes out from Zev. Survival Instincts and Nature's Vigil are up to answer, trying to go for a defensive clone. He gets locked out on it though by Zonica, and now Glinks down to 40% here. Zev doing a ton of damage. Jeopardy in trouble, down to 5%. Bubble comes out, but it's not going to be enough. Zev finishing the job here and would win, taking this series 2-0.
Yep, that Wings pressure is pretty intense. I'm not sure if Survival Instincts actually did fade there, but Zev is going to go ahead and throw that Hammer of Wrath and end this series, and Woodwin is going to take a 2-0, and the Jungle Struggle will be eliminated here in tournament number 19. But man, they competed quite well, making their way through round 1 to round 2 to face this team. And I hope to see them compete again, as they seem like they're doing quite well. But there we are. Woodwin going to the semifinals, playing both Jungle and Ret Hunter Shaman. So I love to see them compete as well. And taking a quick look at that bracket, we have We Love Fountain versus Scouts Honor for the very first series starting tomorrow at 9.